Restore the heart.
I've been glued to my screen lately, scrolling through all the buzz around the upcoming Moana live-action remake, and let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. The movie's set to drop in just a few months, and we've finally gotten that first full trailer glimpse. First off, I've got to give a genuine thumbs up to the graphics and visuals because they are straight up superb. The way they've captured the ocean, the islands, the vibrant colors, it all feels like a living, breathing extension of the animated original. But there's one massive elephant in the room that viewers can't shake off no matter how hard they try, and that's Dwayne Johnson stepping back into the role of Maui. Yeah, the second The Rock shoots up on screen with that larger-than-life presence, the complaints start pouring in like a non-stop wave. People are saying he looks too old for the demigod vibe, that the wig is doing some serious heavy lifting in the wrong direction, and honestly, a bunch of folks are already tossing around names like Jason Momoa as the guy who would have nailed it better. It's brutal out there right now. I'm not about to throw my 2 cents into the ring on how atrocious that wig might end up looking until the full movie drops. But this whole backlash against Dwayne has me reflecting on something deeper. It feels like a snapshot of how so many people in Hollywood and beyond have been quietly, or not so quietly, praying for his downfall in the industry for years. The guy was once the undisputed king of crowd-pleasing blockbusters. The smiling, muscle-flexing everyman who could sell anything from family comedies to action epics. Now, he's become this polarizing figure where the love feels forced and the shade comes easy. With over 290 million Instagram followers, 7 million YouTube subscribers, and 15 million X followers, you'd think Dwayne Johnson has an army of fans that could drown out any negativity. But I'm convinced he's got twice that number of haters out there, just waiting for the next trailer or headline to pile on. If you want proof, just hop on X or Twitter and watch the timeline explode. I've been seeing tweet after tweet tearing into him, things like folks calling that Maui wig cringe, and straight up labeling it a cosplay gone wrong. One guy posted something that cracked me up in a sad way. Bro still looks bald with the wigs on. Dwayne Johnson has no business acting Maui in the live action of Moana.
Damn!
It's not isolated either. There are threads full of side-by-side comparisons, memes, and people reminiscing about how the original animated Maui had this effortless charm that the live-action version just can't seem to capture with Dwayne in the mix. It's like the internet has been holding on to this grudge, and the trailer gave them the perfect outlet. This isn't new hate, it's been simmering, and the Moana thing just turned up the heat. When you step back and look at what Dwayne Johnson represents in Hollywood these days, it boils down to ego and personality dialed up to 11. He's the ultimate self-made success story on paper. The wrestler who turned himself into a global superstar through sheer force of will, charm, and yes, that massive physical presence. But that same ego and personality, the ones that propelled him forward, have also become the very things that turned so many against him. It got him incredibly far, from stealing scenes in the Fast and Furious movies to headlining his own franchise bids like Black Adam.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
Remember how he positioned himself as the next big superhero? He was out there teasing epic clashes with Superman, talking about reshaping the DC universe around his character, acting like he was the savior the whole franchise needed. It was bold, it was confident, and for a while it looked like it was working. The Fast and Furious run made him one of the highest paid actors on the planet, and Black Adam felt like the natural next leap into god-tier status. But here's the thing about egos in Hollywood. They can carry you high, but they can also drop you hard when the winds shift. That larger-than-life attitude is exactly what led to his downfall with the crash and burn of Black Adam. The movie was supposed to be his crowning achievement, the launchpad for a whole new era. But it ended up feeling like a vanity project that prioritized Dwayne over everything else. Insiders spilled the tea afterward, with one Hollywood executive bluntly calling it out. Dwayne tried to sell himself as bigger than the movie, always believing he was the most important person in any room. He didn't want to play nice with the established DC players. He wanted the spotlight centered squarely on him. Reports talked about how he pushed to control the narrative, alienating the broader universe and refusing to integrate Black Adam the way the studio needed. The box office reflected it. Underwhelming numbers, mixed reviews, and a sense that the film never quite escaped Dwayne's shadow. It wasn't just a financial miss. It became this symbolic moment where people said, "See, he reached too far and got burned by the sun, just like Icarus." And it wasn't like the criticism came out of nowhere. Even his own collaborators had been side-eyeing that ego for a while. Take the Fast and Furious crew. Vin Diesel, the franchise's godfather, clashed with him hard. It started on set with rumors of Dwayne showing up late, tensions over who got the final say, and it boiled over publicly when Dwayne dropped those shady Instagram posts about co-stars who didn't act like stand-up men and true professionals. Everyone knew it was aimed at Vin, and Vin responded by framing it as two alphas butting heads, but the damage was done. Tyrese Gibson jumped in too, posting videos and interviews where he called out how Dwayne's solo star mindset disrupted the family vibe the movies were built on. He talked about how Dwayne prioritized his own brand deals and spin-offs over the group dynamic, and other cast members echoed the sentiment in quieter ways. It painted this picture of a guy who, no matter how charming he seemed on camera, carried an air of self-importance that rubbed the inner circle raw. Hollywood loves a humble hero story, but when the hero starts believing his own hype too loudly, the knives come out. Then there's the acting side of things, which has fueled even more of the dislike. For all his box office pull, Dwayne has caught endless heat for basically playing a version of himself in every role. The charismatic, jacked-up guy with the quippy one-liners and the heart of gold. It works for popcorn flicks, but critics and fans started comparing him unfavorably to wrestlers turned actors who actually stretch themselves. Guys like Dave Bautista got praised for diving into dramatic roles in Dune and Guardians of the Galaxy, showing real vulnerability and range that made people take him seriously as a thespian. John Cena did the same with his comedic timing in Peacemaker and his more grounded turns elsewhere, earning cred for evolving beyond the muscle stereotype. Dwayne? He stayed in that safe lane, and the conversation shifted to why promote him as the gold standard when these other guys are out here proving they can do more. It felt like the industry was quietly elevating the competition while Dwayne kept doubling down on the same formula. All those threads, the ego clashes, the typecasting complaints, the overreach, came together in the perfect storm of Black Adam's flop. Hoping to turn it around, Dwayne threw himself into what he called his passion project, The Smashing Machine, the biopic about UFC fighter Mark Kerr. This was supposed to be his big dramatic pivot, the role where he shed the action hero skin and showed real depth. He talked endlessly about the preparation. It was a huge deal to him personally. He poured his soul into it, seeing it as the chance to silence the critics and prove he could carry serious material. But when it finally hit screens, the reception was lukewarm at best. Critics called it solid but meandering. Audiences showed up in modest numbers, and come awards season, it stung. The film picked up a nomination for makeup and hairstyling, but Dwayne himself got completely snubbed for Best Actor. No Oscar nod, no industry applause, nothing. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. All that effort, all those stories about transforming himself, and it barely registered with the Academy or the broader conversation. It felt like another quiet confirmation that the goodwill he once commanded had evaporated. Circling back to Moana, it's being positioned as his potential comeback vehicle. The Disney-backed spectacle tied to his own Polynesian roots, with visuals that could win people over. But the early reactions tell a different story. It's all in shambles, with the same voices that cheered his rise now leading the chorus of doubt. This trailer moment has amplified everything that's been building against him. And if you want one more layer to why so many seem done with Dwayne, look at the steroid denial saga that keeps resurfacing. He's always preached hard work, clean living, and genetics as the secret to his physique, flat out denying any enhancement. But the internet never forgets, and videos dissecting his transformation, from early wrestling days to peak movie star bulk, have circulated for years, with experts and fans pointing out gains that look suspiciously accelerated. Joe Rogan went public about it after the Liver King mess.
Does The Rock say he's clean?
He has implied it.
There's not a chance in hell he's clean.
Basically calling on Dwayne to come clean because of the toxic body image pressure it puts on young guys chasing that impossible look. Dwayne pushes back every time, sticking to his story, but the criticism sticks too. It feeds into this bigger narrative of him not being fully authentic, of projecting an image that's more manufactured than he admits. In an era where audiences crave transparency from their idols, it just adds fuel to the dislike fire. Looking at Dwayne Johnson's arc now, it's this fascinating, almost Shakespearean tale of a guy who built an empire on charisma and confidence, only to watch parts of it crumble under the weight of that same confidence. He went from everyone's favorite to Hollywood's favorite cautionary example, and the Moana trailer feels like the latest chapter in that saga. Whether this one redeems him or just piles on more proof that the haters have won the long game, I'm not sure. But one thing's clear as I keep scrolling those tweets and headlines. The love isn't what it used to be, and the scrutiny isn't letting up anytime soon. Hollywood's a tough town, and right now it feels like it's turning its back on the very guy who once ruled it.